A very good morning. It's the 9th and final competition day of the Biathlon World Championships here in Hochfilzen. The sun has returned. We have a packed house once again. Well over 20,000 yesterday. We're expecting in excess of 25,000 today, and the majority out on the tracks. Mike, we've been blessed with some good weather. It's made a huge difference to the championships. The one thing that's been missing, though, is the wind.
Well, the wind, it has, many of the coaches, the athletes, saying how difficult it has been to shoot, even though it's been slightly breezy. Today it's dead calm. Yeah,
there's a little wind overnight. I thought it might blow up, but it's not been the case. So both the women and the men should be able to hit the targets, but it's not been the case so far throughout the championships. Kukalova and Dalmar, the two hot favourites. They've been on the podium of every single mass start so far this year. Daria Domracheva, silver in the pursuit. A phenomenal race that was. Can she do it again? I think the standing shoot might be the obstacle between her and a second medal. Anais Chevalier, she's in with the big guns now, Mike, right up the front of the field, along with Alexia Rungaldier taking a bronze medal in the individual.
That was one of the most impressive, well, surprises for us. Rungaldier taking those 20 shots, all of them went down, and the bronze medal.
Kaisa Makarainen, short of medals so far. She's fast enough to win one. She's fast enough to win gold, as is Marie Durana-Bear, but the word is she's not feeling too good. Well, let's just get a look to see what the teams actually get up to prior to the race. We always talk about the team behind the team, the technicians that do so much work to get the skis prepared. This is Andreas Emslander, the chief of the German technician team. He says on a competition day we arrive about 4 or 5 hours before the race starts. And our first thing is to go out and check the conditions, the temperature of the snow and the air, the humidity of the snow and the air as well, and of course the structure of the snow. And once that, we go back to the truck and start choosing a selection of skis for the racing. So they can decide from those early preparations. They select between 4 and 6 pairs per athlete, and then they prepare them with different waxes and different hand structures. And the next step, of course, is to go out on the tracks and test the materials. Here's Andreas again. Well, you have to have so many combinations to test the wax, see which wax is working with which structure, and the wax tester will go out with his designated athlete to try and find out the best combination. Well, the technicians will do about 10 laps in all, dueling each other, finding out which skis are going best. Takes about 45 minutes to get the job done. And as I say, the technicians designated to a maximum of 2 athletes. Multiple world champion Laura Dalmar, of course, has her own. Her tester is Albert Neuner, the cousin of one Magdalena Neuner. Mickey saying to him, you've been chatting to Laura for a long time. What have you been discussing? The decision about what ski was taken quite quickly, so then it's all about choosing the wax. And we've talked about the course, what the snow's like in various places, which is the quickest route, where you want to be in each particular part. So really detailed. Vanessa Hint saying she wants a speed ski, don't they all? And she says it's easy enough to rule out the skis you're not going to use, but making that final decision on the one you are going to use is a little tougher. So the athlete having to rely on the technician to make the decision, and she'll wait a few minutes and then go out again and just test the skis she'll do a lot of skiing on the skis that aren't going to be used, and they'll preserve the actual race ski until the very final moment. Mike, is that pretty much how you used to do it?
Well,
did you have a team like that?
Never. I mean, the truck alone is 150,000 euros. All the different workers in there. It's a huge, complex game.
And how much difference do you think these waxing trucks have made? The very fact that all the skis are racked, all the waxes are there, they haven't got to transport it from their vehicle into the waxing cabin.
Yes, you can. Most of these trucks holding up to 600 pairs of skis, so you've got your full and safe carriage of skis. The ski bags are things of the past.
Well, it's been a golden championships for the Germans so far. Benedikt Doll, of course, getting his first ever win. It happened to be a World Championship race. And, of course, Laura Dahlmeier running away, looking for records today. She could become the first person to take 5 golds at one single championship. She's on 4, and she's the hot favourite to win the mass start. Well, let's have a look at the tracks for the women. It's a 12.5K race, so 5 times round, the 2.5 kilometre loop. It's a little bit tougher than their relay course. It
is, and within this 12.5, not a huge distance, 431 metres of climb. When their legs are at the most fatigue on today, the 6th day of racing, it's going to hurt. Look at the profile there. Yes, it's at the early part of the race, it's quite flat, and then you come into the hills prior to the range.
Well, the athletes all lined up, ready to go, and the start time about a minute and a half from now. Vanessa Hintz, can she do something? We certainly came to these championships thinking she might medal, but 6th is the best she's managed so far. Marta Olsbu certainly needs to raise Norway's game. If they can improve 2 silvers, 1 bronze, it's a poor tally for them. The Austrians, they have a medal after the men's relay. The pressure is off Lisa Theresa Hauser. Is that going to be the catalyst that gets her up into the top 3? So we're about ready to go. Dahlmeier, of course, in yellow, not running away with the championships, but Kukkalova has been very, very consistent. She's wearing the red bib, leading the mass start standings, having won 2 of the 3 mass starts this season and got 3rd in the 3rd. Domracheva wearing 3, Chevalier 4, and Galdier 5 for Italy. And then we have Kaisa Mäkäräinen and Marie Durana-Bear, who you'd certainly put a lot of money on to finish in the top 3. They start 6 and 7 ahead of Dorothy Vera, who has not shown us her best form so far.
Dorothy Vera was, and maybe still is, viewed as as the best shot in the women's field. The stats don't show it over this last 9 days. Hopefully she finds some of that magic back.
Well, how about this for winding the clock back? Daria Domracheva leading the way out of the stadium. She has, of course, got that silver medal from the pursuit. That could almost be the performance of the championships, Mike. 27th in the sprint. She worked her way all the way up in the 2nd place in the pursuit.
It was hard to believe it was possible, given the limited amount of training, given the fact that she gave birth on the 1st of October, and she wasn't expecting it. I don't think anybody was expecting that result.
Yeah, I think you'd better add 2016 to that, just so people realise how recently it was.
It's quite amazing, quite amazing. She did say on that day she was going to treat it as a training day from bib number 27, almost impossible to get to the podium, and she did it. And Domracheva taking the initiative early on, wanting to control the pace at the front.
Snow conditions are good, much colder overnight than it was the previous 2 evenings, and the track's fairly firm this morning. I think the men might have it quite tough later on today for the men's mass start, but the women have got optimal conditions, and that generally means that the field are going to be much closer together, so the shooting far more likely to win the day than it has done in the past. And if you look at the champions from the past, Mike, we've had Neuner, who's won the title with 4 misses. In fact, she's won it twice with 4 misses. But more recently, Durana-Bear, of course, the defending champion. She hit 20 out of 20 in Oslo last year. Vyshchemenko won in 2015, hitting 20 out of 20. And Daria Domracheva, who's right up the front at the moment, hitting 19 out of 20 to win the Olympics back in 2014.
Yeah, that was interesting. She won the World Champs just before that as well in this race, 2013, this title. So Domracheva, and she's had, what, a 2nd place in 2011. has managed this, and her fast skiing historically was largely which always brought her up to the top in these races, the mass start.
Marta Olsbu rounding the corner. The Norwegians will be delighted to see her up front. The fans from Norway, and there are plenty of them here, not happy with the way things are going. The Norwegian press very scathing of the way the performances on the range. Very much.
They can't. They've asked a lot of questions. What is wrong with the girls shooting the Norwegians? One athlete down. That's a Grigorin.
Yeah, Grigorin, or is it?
Yeah, Taya Grigorin.
Grigorin.
I'll tell you what, she's one of my favourites today. She's included in the start list. Her shooting's been great, and she's skiing the fastest she is, or has for many, many years.
Yeah, the only problem, Mike, as we see the replay of the stumble, let's see what goes wrong here. I think she must catch the ski on one of those bollards on the side. No, she's planted the pole inside the ski. Most common mistake, a beginner's mistake you could say, but we've seen plenty of champions do it in the past.
But absolutely, that shows how difficult it is to go wide and around the 2 or 3 columns of athletes, because their skis are coming wide, and there is real error, or real risk of error when you go round the side.
Yeah, I was going to say, Grigorin hasn't raced a mass start this year, so that could prove to be her undoing, because it's a very different psychology from the pursuit. As you can see, the whole field packed together. No one split at the moment, which would suggest that Olsbu's and Domracheva's pace at the front hasn't been too punishing.
What about Dahlmeier? We saw her looking so tired. She's had issues after each of the races here. The last 2 or 3 races, there's one athlete, and it's Dorothy Vera with just one ski pole. The other's been ripped out of her hand. There she goes. She needs to get a coach involved.
No panic from Dorothy Vera, but that's going to be pretty tricky, and with the field so packed, these sort of incidents are always going to happen, and therefore you're safest either at the front or at the back. Right in the middle, you're inviting trouble. Well, that's going to take it out of her legs a little, Mike, when you consider that, well, we're still up for debate how much of the work comes out of your arms. 40 to 60%. You think maybe even less than that?
I think in the women's field, 26 to 32%. I mean, the major muscle groups are your quads or your legs.
Well, I guess you could take the sticks away and find out how quickly they go compared to when they have the poles to work with. That would be an interesting little bit of research, which I'm sure many of the top teams have already done. Athletes, of course, do plenty of training sessions where they don't use the poles. The Swedes recommending that athletes of this level can ski 30 kilometers without poles without any trouble at all.
Oh, yeah, mostly on flat terrain, man. A lot of the athletes are doing uphill sessions on roller skis, purely legs, then purely arms, just to keep the muscle groups going. Well, Dahlmeier floating effortlessly to the top. There's the Italian spare ski pole. Let's just say it's a little late. Dorothy Vera, now I wonder how that's going to affect her mindset.
She's still only got one. I think she still has only got one. Or she's picked up a spare further up the course, but it looks about 1.5 feet too long. That's going to be very, very awkward. She may get one as she comes out of the range, but she's just got to hope that doesn't unsettle her. She's not lost too much time. She, remember, was 3rd in the mass start in Novo Miesto this season. She missed 5 shots last year in Oslo, so Vera needs to improve on that. Lane 1, Kukalova, Dahlmeier 2, Domracheva 3, Chevalier of France in 4, and Galdier 5. The yellow dashes are non-existent at the moment. Every single target going down so far at this end. Mäkäräinen the first to miss from the favourites. Dahlmeier clears 5 with 5. She is away. Domracheva goes with her. Chevalier, a careless miss from her. Kukalova is 5 with 5 as well. And a clean sheet for Galdier, Duranabert, Vera, Hildebrand. Well done to Vera, Mike, in those situations.
She coped so well. She went back to her normal standard fast shooting, and that's when she's at her best.
And look who's leading. It's Susan Dunkley. Can she possibly do the double for the United States, getting their first ever title at these World Championships with Lau Bailey? So Dunkley 6:46, Dahlmeier in 2nd, Akimova 3. Fall of shot for Dalmar, a little low right, then high left. Not the best group we've seen from her so far this week. Fatigue has to be a factor with Dalmar. We saw her exhausted after the individual. She pretty much collapsed after the relay as well. And she's been in the same situation as Fourcade. She's medalled in every single event so far. And when you medal, that means that 2 to 3 hours of your evening disappears because you have press duties. And add that up over the weekend, she's sort of 15, 20 hours less than everyone else to relax.
It's incredible. I know that she's used to it. I know Martin Fourcade is used to it, so mentally they're kind of prepared for that. But you can't take away the fact that instead of resting, you get a million questions asked of you. The doping tests, of course, after the race, the press conference, everything is quite tense. And then, of course, more interviews later in the evening at the hotels.
Number 17 and number 15 in the World Cup standings, Susan Dunkley. Well, the American looking very good at the moment. It's early days to be leading a mass start, but if she can hit all the targets in the prone position, Mike, and she can gain herself some 20-25 seconds over the rest of the field, that affords her one miss in the stand. You would suspect that she's going to need that, but maybe an inspired performance coming up from Susan Dunkley. Daria Domratova still there. We'd expect to see her up with the leaders at the halfway stage. Kukalova, Dalmar, Duran-Hebert. It's extraordinary, Mike, how often in this event there are 4 names that always get into the top 5.
They've just got everything, haven't they? I think partly which helps them is each of those 4 have the ski speed, so they kind of jostle position to see who has the fastest speed on any given day. Mostly Dalmar these days, but so the ski speed's there, therefore you recover a little better into your shooting, and their statistics are pretty good on the range.
So do you think it's down to the fact that the best are racing their own race, everyone else is trying to race them?
I think so, honestly. When you look at the lower ranked or the less fast skiers, they're taking themselves into a really uncomfortable place in this race to try and stay with the pace. Therefore, when they come to the range, often they're gasping for air. It's a little bit more difficult for their shooting. Dorothy Vera, she's got a matching ski pole. She's back in the race, just 10.5 seconds behind. And that's it. I think she skied about 1.5 kilometers, maybe more, without a ski pole. And then to shoot the perfect 5, good mindset.
Well, quite impressive. 19 of the 30 athletes going clear on that first shoot. Chevalier, the fastest of those who's missed. Olsbu, who set the pace early on, probably paying a price for that. She missed one. Makarainen missed as well. Anastasia Kuzmina of Slovakia. Of course, as many of you will know, Anton Shapulin's sister. She's down in 24th, having missed 1 shot on the first shoot. Puskachikova, Selena Gasparin, Lisa Teresa Hauser of Austria, but all missing 2 on that first shoot.
That's incredible. Lisa Teresa Hauser, statistically, coming into these championships, was second best shot in the world, and that's what happens when your championships are at home.
Well, these are the scenes that the athletes enjoy, and this is the hill where Austria won their bronze medal in the men's relay yesterday. I think that's one of the best bits of skiing we have ever seen, Mike. Such a brave decision. After the race, he was quite happy to admit that all the way around the final leg, he was thinking of that one final climb. He knew he wouldn't beat Schemp over the last 500 meters. He destroyed him on that big climb.
It was a very brave strategy, I think, and it was a strategy which may not have worked. Had Schemp been able to stay with him to the top of the rise, then you would have predicted Schemp could pass him in the last, certainly 500.
Yeah, Landertinger making himself not only a popular figure, but a famous figure around here. A bit of a shame that the Biathlon World Championships colliding with the Alpine World Championships, Mike, because most of the televisions in the Biathlon Stadium are tuned into what's going on in St. Moritz.
Well, they love their Alpine as well, don't they? But what about America? The confidence now in the team spirit's always been good, but great to see Susan Dunkley at the front.
Well, talking about the Alpine, of course, Austria going well after the first leg of the slalom. The second leg still to come. Great Britain with Dave riding in a fantastic position to challenge, just outside the podium positions after the first leg. So make sure you stay tuned after this race, because we'll be back with Nick Fellows for the finale of the men's slalom in St. Moritz. What a climax that is going to be. No chance of British success here in either the women's or the men's. No one qualified in the top 30. Just explain the qualification for this mass start, Mike, before they come in for the second shoot.
Well, the medal winners take up the first 5 positions, and then the world ranking is the top 15 following that, and then it's the points gained over the previous days here of racing that bring in the last 10.
Yeah, so it takes into account the sprint, the pursuit, and the individual.
At the World Cup, that's different. It's only the 5 best from that existing World Cup that get a chance to race in this race.
So here we go. And it's Gabi Kukalova who is in the red bib, indicating that she's the leader of the mass start standings this season. A first two wins and a 3rd place in Antolz. It was still a good race in Antolz. Dalmar, incidentally, has finished 2nd in all 3 mass starts. She's looking to make a little bit of history today by winning her 5th gold medal. She's still in with a very good chance, and if Dalmar's there at the last shoot, you'd expect she will come through. 2 out of 2 for Dunkley of the United States. Daria Domracheva throwing her first shot wide for the day. Dunkley goes 5 with 5. Came in first. She's going out first as well. Dalmar hits all 5. The German crowd enjoying that one. Daria Domracheva meltdown 300 metres, 450 metres now for her. She's pretty much out of contention at this stage of the race. Durana Bear, Mike, another 5 despite feeling tired. Stumbled. Is that Vanessa Hintz going down? It is Vanessa Hintz.
Vanessa Hintz, her spirit, her head went down. She missed 3 targets and then she fell.
Makarainen stays in the race, missed early on, but we'll just keep an eye on the margin. Makarainen, after the first shoot, was 33 down and way down in 22nd position. So a big improvement from her, and keeps herself in with a chance. There are the top 8, all of them going clear. Susan Dunkley of USA still leading, 13:36 the time. Split round for Dunkley on that 2nd shot. Little low right. All of them going a little low right. The Americans watching on. You know what? They're starting to believe that it can happen all over again.
Isn't that great? The spirit, the belief, and we saw Joni Kakkonen there scoping through the scope. He's done a great job for the American team. He's Finnish. Swedish coach for the men's team.
Good solid shoot from Dalmar as well. No cause for concern amongst the German fans at this stage. Dalmar in these situations, you would back Mike. Generally, she misses early on in the mass starts, but it's not happened so far.
Yeah, the perfect 10. I think it's only, what, 8 athletes having hit the first 10. And, you know, 4 of these are Italian. 4 Italians in the top 8 at the moment.
Now, is this Kukalova starting to make a move, going past Lara Dalmar? That would be interesting, because Kukalova looked absolutely finished in the women's relay, just couldn't stay with the pace. The Czech Republic skied out of the podium positions by Ukraine and France. Germany, of course, taking the win. Susan Dunkley in almost exactly the same position as she was at this stage on the last loop, and look who's behind her. Dalmar, Durana Bear, Vera is there, Kukalova is there. Mike, it's absolutely extraordinary how those 4 do so well in all the mass starts.
Oh, it's quite predictable, but I think things might change. The fatigue in their legs, having done all the races so far, we might find as this race progresses, their pace will start dropping off. We certainly saw that in the relay for Kukalova.
And actually, the only place we've seen signs of fatigue is the last lap, when someone just hasn't been able to produce what they can when they're fresh. We saw it with Johannes Tingis Bow, we saw it with Kukalova in the women's relay.
Yes, and I think so, because at this stage in the race, you're still on, you're pushing hard, but they're not going into that exceptional place which the last lap brings in. No more shooting, they can just absolutely go as fast as they can.
It was noticeable on the last lap, Mike, that Dunkley just eased the pace up the first 500 metres before the shoot. The rest had to keep the pressure on to try and close the gap. That's not a bad situation for Dunkley to be in. It means she can shoot under some sort of semblance of control. Rungaldier, Vitozzi. It's been a great week. Look at the Italians, they're amassing 4 of them in succession, and Dorothy Vera there as well.
It's brilliant. Jima, so far so good, 31 seconds off. Makarainen always giving top 3 ski times. Again, she's very strong today.
Yeah, the Italians want something from this race. They were bitterly disappointed not to be on the podium in the women's relay. When you see the results they produced in the individual races, it really was looking as though they were going to be able to take silver or gold.
The pace is beginning to pick up from the chasers. It was 6 seconds. They've now closed the gap on Susan. Susan, I think, as you said, you alluded to the fact that she does the flat sections, keeping that 6-second lead. She maybe backs off a little into the hill, or do the others increase their pace? Probably second option.
Dunkley, 11th in the Olympics back in 2014 in this discipline, 11th in the World Championships last year. If she keeps this going, she could knock one of those ones off. It could be top spot for her. Many thought she was going to be the first American to win a World Cup after her successes out in North America last year, but Bailey's pipped her to it.
And of course the successes in Novo Mesto, we saw, what, 3.3 seconds off the fastest in the sprint competition.
So America, the Czech Republic, Germany, France, Italy, all in the top 5 at the moment. But we do have Italy, as you can see, in 5, 6, 7. And Vitozzi just dropping down a 9 as Makarainen starts to make a move up through the field. 21 behind. Makarainen with a penalty loop in her legs already. That could prove crucial come the end of this race.
Eckhoff has already missed 2, but she's skiing as hard as she can, just trying to... last chance here to get medals for the Norwegian team.
Just looking down the records, Mike, the 3rd shoot is the one where they tend to miss the most targets. The first shoot in the stand position.
It's an interesting stand. When you look at everybody's statistic, there's only 3 women out of the top 100 who shoot better in the stand than they do in the prone.
Kukalova shutting the door on Dalmar there on that right-hand corner. Dalmar didn't look to be too phased by that. She'll be quite happy being sucked along by the Czech as they work their way back towards the road bridge, under the tunnel, into the stadium. Shoot number 3 coming up. Vera, this is pretty much where Vera's been all season, Mike, just off the back of the main group.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, after nearly 20 minutes of racing, she's normally a little bit further back, losing some 20, 25 seconds. She's hanging in, she's surviving on this pace.
Now, normally, you can win a mass start hitting 18 out of 20. Not today. It looks very, very much like it's going to be a clear shoot to win this one, and the 5 athletes who are leading will know that is the case. So, Kukalova, wearing bib number 1, looking for a 3rd mass start victory of the season. We've also got the defending champion in that group as well, Marie Durand-Abert. We mustn't forget that. And lean pickings for Durand-Abert at these championships.
Yes, there have been, but remember today she's got that throat, head cold, bit of a throat problem, but doing so well so far.
Yeah, not a problem so far. Might be coughing and spluttering later on today, but if she's got a medal to show for it, she won't mind. Dunkley and Vera, 1 shot ahead of the rest. 4 out of 4 for Dunkley. Does she hit 5?
Yes.
Yes, she does. Vera misses 1. That could be the end of her chance, but only 1. So 150 meters to ski. Durand-Abert taking her time. That 5th shot taking some 15 seconds, but it's down, and she stays in the race. And it's the big 4 who lead the way out of the stadium. Sanfilippo has a meltdown. Makarainen has to go clear.
Come on, Makarainen, and Sanfilippo, I think that was the risk for trying to stay with the pace. She doesn't normally ski quite that fast.
Rungaldier hits 5, Makarainen hits 5, Jima, Grigorin, Vitozzi, they're all still with a chance of going on the podium, because the chances are that one of the big names up front is going to make a mistake. Look at the quality of the leaders. Dunkley, Dalmar, Kukalova, Durand-Abert. They've all except Dunkley have won races, but Dunkley's been brilliantly consistent this season. So 2029, 1 shoot remaining, 2 times round the 2.5 kilometer loop. Can America get their 2nd win? The leading four, all hitting 15 out of 15 so far. Rungaldier is up into fifth. She's 27 seconds off the leader, Dunkley. Great shooting again from Dauma. That would suggest that the last five are going to go down as well. Sensational form, Mike. She's getting closer and closer to that fifth gold medal. Tora Berger won 4. Liv Greta Poiré won 4. If you take the clock back all the way to 2004 in Oberhof, Dauma could put herself on a pedestal here.
It's quite incredible. It's quite amazing. Susan Dunkley is having the perfect race, and through her mind right now she must be analysing, what do I need to do to get rid of these three great names, Kukalova, Dahlmeier and Dorana Baer behind her. It's difficult.
Similar situation for Susan Dunkley. The only difference is, Mike, that the forces amassing behind her are being reduced in number, but the quality is no less. It's the same three names: Dauma, Dorana Baer, and of course Gabi Kukalova. Kukalova might look slow on the last leg of the women's relay. 48 hours, is that enough time? I know she's probably got a masseur for each leg and arm.
Well, you need that, don't you? You need to enhance or get the quickest recoveries possible, get food in after each race, which she was doing in each of the previous 5 races. But fatigue is difficult to come back from it. But I must say, Kukalova, as she came into the range, she was so composed, and she had those eyes that were so determined to get the 5. She got them.
Well, I'm well aware that a number of people watch the biathlon live on the IBU website, Biathlon World, and many of them are in the United States, and their interest certainly sparked by the fact that Bailey picked himself a gold medal in the men's individual. They will be astonished to see that they've got a chance of doing it again here in the women's mass start. But if you were to put your money on one of the top 4 winning, Mike, it's unlikely to be Dunkley when you consider her shooting record this season.
Well, it's certainly on paper you would think not, but then you look at what's happened at Lowell Bailey when one athlete in your team does it creates this wonderful gold medal in the individual competition, hitting 20 out of 20. I really hope that's inspired Susan, and it seems to have. She seems to be on a different level today, and it's wonderful to watch another American at the front.
And now she'll just ease up on this climb. Kukalova and Dauma will close down on the American. The American trying to get the pulse back under control. Maybe she's saving something for later. We won't find out until the last loop. But look at Kukalova's shooting. 84% hit rate in the stand. Dauma's on 85. And of course, Marie Dorana Baer on 80. You go all the way down to 74% hit rate for Dunkley.
It's interesting the line in which the 4 athletes are taking. Susan's taking, looking down the track, the right-hand side. The other 3 were more to left as we're looking, which is beginning to get a little shaded.
Yeah, shaded is faster. Left, where Dunkley was shorter. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Dunkley this time climbing a little bit faster than last time. But again, it's Dauma who starts to close the gap. Is the race going to be won on the big climb? It's going to be called the Landy Climb from now on. There's no doubt about that.
Well, he's got a loop, quite a hilly 8-kilometre loop in his name, just down the road near Fieberbrunn. Certainly, that's got to be Landertinger Hill. I saw Andy Stitzel running alongside Dahlmeier up the steepest part of that climb. I don't know how she's able to hear him, even though he's screaming into her ear of whatever advice.
Well, I don't know who you favour at this moment in time. Dunkley, of course, the only one of the leading 4 who has never won a World Cup or a world title. And so it would be a little bit of history if she managed that. If Dauma wins, as you know, she moves on to 5 gold medals. That would be a record. Kukalova could be the first to win 3 out of 4 mass starts in a season. She's in red. And Dorana Baer could become the first person ever to defend the title. So whichever way you look at it, there's a bit of history coming our way.
There certainly is. And last year, Dorana Baer obviously took the gold, but hit 20 out of 20. Dahlmeier missed 1. Makarainen, who came 3rd, she missed 1.
Great cornering. Now that's the Bailey corner. That's where Lau Bailey won the individual, taking that corner tight, having a good fast line under the road and into the stage.
It's a risky, Law was saying, it's quite a risky strategy because your legs are at the most fatigued and you have to take the forces through that bend quite tight. but you definitely get a slingshot away from the corner.
The one person who hasn't got tied up in any of the manoeuvring, Mike, is Marie Durand-Hébert. She's just sat at the back of the four, looking for as much protection, not from the wind, but from the sort of self-created wind by the speed they're going. And she's done very, very little.
It's sad. 4 great names, just 3 medals. It's all about this next 35 seconds.
But if they all got medals, there wouldn't be any tension. Here we go then, the Americans almost in disbelief. Germany expectant that Dalmar can pull this one out of the bag again. So Kukalova lane 1, Dalmar 2. We've got Dunkley in 3 and Durand-Hébert in 4. Dunkley first to strike, as she was on the last stand. She's shooting a little bit quicker this week. 3 out of 3 for the American, 4 out of 4. If 5 go down,
yes!
Got a chance. Away she goes. Undoubtedly inspired by Bailey. Kukalova misses, Durand-Hébert misses, but Laura Dalmar, the fastest of them all, has gone clear. It's USA versus Germany for the gold and the silver, and an opportunity now for Makarainen, Grigorin, Zima, Vera and Galdier. Each of them have a chance of taking bronze, and Zima with 4, Vera's got 4. Oh, Vera throws 5 wide. It's Zima of Ukraine who could be heading for a podium place, but she's going to have to out-ski 2 of the fastest, Kukalova and Durand-Hébert.
Zima took all the risks. She didn't care. She shot the fastest I've ever seen her shoot, and she's moved into 3rd place for Ukraine.
I'm astonished there haven't been some collisions on the exit from the penalty loop, Mike. We might see one later on.
Oh, what a race. Dunkley, that was magnificent. 20 out of 20. She shot the fastest there. She's got a 5-second lead, but I bet she's a little disappointed that it's Dalmar and not maybe Durand-Hébert or Kukalova.
Yeah, I think she'd fancy her chances, but what we have to consider is, has Dunkley been saving energy on the climb each time round, or has she just not got the strength to climb as fast as Laura Dalmar? How tired is Dalmar? We saw her exhausted in the women's relay. 5.1 seconds.
Susan Dunkley.
She's gone for it early.
This is the Shipulin strategy. Remember, Shipulin had Foucault just 4 seconds behind him yesterday in the relay, and he attacked straight away. That's what Susan's doing today.
Phenomenal. Absolutely astonishing from the Americans. I think we're going to see a rise in American biathlon over the next decade or so. She was 125 to 1 to win this one. There are 1 or 2 nervous bookies around with Dunkley leading. Bit by bit, stride by stride, Laura Dalmar is travelling more efficiently. Dunkley looks to be tying up in the shoulders just a little, and she's got the big climb still to come, and that's where Dalmar is so dangerous. Dunkley, Mike, what does she do? Does she go flat out? Does she try and hold that 4-second margin? Or does she say, right, let Dalmar catch me, I'll feed off her for the last, for 1.5 kilometres and then just go for it with 500 to go?
Well, I think Susan's strategy is just to keep on attacking. I think she's aware that Dalmar's closing in, then she'll have to take strategy number 2.
Kukalova looking a lot stronger than she did in the relay. She's up against Zima again, who picked up for a medal in the women's relay. But early days at this stage, Mike, she's still got the big climb to come. Here are the 2 leaders. From 5 seconds, it's down to 1.5. The Americans still leading, though, and Dalmar having to work hard to close the gap.
Now, this is where Susan is one of the tallest athletes in the women's field, and this is where it's a disadvantage. The frame is much bigger than Dalmar when it comes to the steep hills. Come on, Susan, stay with the fight.
Yeah, I can't see it happening at this stage. Dalmar still looks so composed. Look how steady the core is. Look how little movement of the upper body for Dalmar. Very efficient. And Kukalova's still hunting. She's away behind the 2 leaders, but she's got pressure from behind. And Zima of Ukraine is there, and is that Makarainen coming through? No, it's not. It's number 26, who you picked out earlier on.
Yeah,
Taya Grigorin.
She's on fantastic form. A pity she just missed 1 target, Grigorin.
The 2 leaders both hitting 20 out of 20. We've never seen 3 clear shoots on the podium, and Dalmar in the lead for the first time. Now Dunkley has got to do something extra special. She's got to be inspired by Lau Bailey, but look at that, the first 10 metres of the climb, and Dalmar's pulled 2 or 3 clear.
Come on, Susan, this is the moment which Lowell said it slipped through his fingers in the pursuit competition, and he'd never let it happen again, but Susan is absolutely on her limit.
Has Dalmar gone too early? There is a chance, but look, that dance is still in those legs. She's got the strength to look to the right. She looks at the coaches. Almost a little hint of a smile from Dalmar. She's comfortable, and Dunkley is in agony.
Well, Dalmar, the shorter strides, the more upright body, she's just sucking in the oxygen. It's not over yet for Susan, but it's looking less likely.
Andy Stitzel has been one of the best supporters of all the athletes out there.
Mäkäräinen coming through. She is the fastest today. She's missed a couple of targets, in fact, just one target.
And Mäkäräinen is going through on the inside of Gabi Kukaleva, who just cannot respond. First medal coming the way for Finland, and that's just what we want. The more nations on the podiums, the better. And Mäkäräinen, well deserving of a medal here in Hochfilzen. It's not really gone away so far, but showing great strength. Watch it, 12th in the sprint. She worked her way up into 7th in the pursuit, hitting 19 out of 20. Disappointing 15th in the individual, but she's into bronze medal position in the mass start.
And because of this amazing ski speed, Mäkäräinen, she will be included at the cross-country World Championships for Finland, certainly in the relay.
And now the margin is decisive. Susan Dunkley has lost it on the big climb. Lara Dalmar heading for gold, number 5. Mäkäräinen, and as soon as Mäkäräinen went past Kukaleva, Kukaleva eased up, and now Zima's gone through into 4th. Look at that margin. Look at the margin. Incredible skiing. Take nothing away from Lara Dalmar. She is out and out the world number 1 and arguably the best ever. Some thought Magdalena Neuner, some say Magdalena Forsberg. Many now say Lara Dalmar.
She's just the class act. She doesn't have many bad days, and if they're bad, they're never that bad. Enough to make a podium. But what about America's silver medal coming up? That's the best ever in the women's field at World Championships.
5 races in Oslo World Championships and 5 medals for Dalmar. 6 races here in Hochfilzen and 6 medals. 5 of them gold for Dalmar. Sensational, history-making. And Susan Dunkley, well, she celebrates, but a gold medal would have been super sensational. 4.6 behind. Best performance we've ever seen from Dunkley, without a shadow of doubt. And what about Mäkäräinen? Coming out of nowhere after that 4th shoot. She was 20.8 seconds behind the leaders. She's worked her way up into 3rd position. Well done to Mäkäräinen, her first medal of these championships. And of course, Mäkäräinen taking bronze in Oslo a year ago. So that's a repeat performance from her.
It is, and Kukaleva, she's got her golds, her silver, her bronze at these championships already, but nothing left in her legs to challenge in the last 2.5.
And nothing left in Durana Bear, 7th place. She hasn't quite won the World Cup, Mike, but that's a fairly positive move. She was, what, 40 points clear of Kukaleva at the start of today, and with another 60 points going Dalmar's way, it's looking more and more comfortable, but she's going to have to fight all the way through to the end of the season. No doubt that she can't afford to miss any more World Cups.
No, she absolutely can't. The Italians have started well, and then at the end it's Dorothy Vera who's their best, but 1 minute 6 behind. And missing 2 targets in the end. It's so hard to come back from a missed shot on the last time of asking. You've been round the penalty loop, then you've got to chase the pace.
Tiril Eckhoff for Norway. Again, disappointment for the Norwegians. And again, it's the shooting that's let her down.
Starek halfway up the field, 15th position.
4 athletes shooting the perfect score, Mike. Dalmar and Dunkley in gold and silver. Rungaldier again shooting brilliantly. She's not missed a target since the sprint event.
And Vitozzi as well, another Italian. Great shooting from the Italian team.
Well, there are your top 3. And just wondering, 3 20-shot races, and Rungaldier has hit 20 in each of them. That's 3 in succession. There aren't many people, and I'm not sure anyone has ever achieved that. Brilliant shooting from her. And her teammate Vitozzi going clear as well. Daria Domracheva, her shooting, 4 misses. Started okay, Mike, set the pace on the 2nd lap. So the ski form is coming back bit by bit. For Domracheva, she's been treating these races as training. Even the silver medal in the pursuit was a training run. It's all about building for Pyeongchang.
Quite amazing. Well, yes, and it's hard to come back so quickly, but we saw that silver medal from Domracheva. Missing 4 today, though. She needed a 0, a perfect 0.
Well, Makarainen will now go to Lahti and the cross-country World Championships as a big name, and they'll have sat up and taken note in Lahti and the rest of Finland.
Definitely, and they already know she's attended a couple of cross-country World Cups in the past. She's a great climber, and the hilly courses in Lahti will suit Makarainen beautifully.
The weapon not firing for Lisa Theresa Hauser, 6 misses from her, down in 25th position behind Claire Egan, who actually came in instead of Laukkanen of Finland, who decided not to race today. She's not been well, which is a concern, as she was also going to head to Lahti to race in the cross-country championships, probably in the relay. Puskachikova, 26. Hildebrand, it hasn't all gone the Germans' way. Hildebrand only missed 2, but all the way down in 27, 3:40 behind.
She did look exhausted in the relay, Hildebrand.
And 20-year-old Justine Brezard, 28th today. But here's the golden girl, 5 gold medals and 1 silver. Not a bad haul. Well, let's
Ready. drop. Drop. Yeah, drop.